Hey guys, thanks for tuning into another Healthy Hustle. You have Nicole Morgan, Director of Communications here at New Earth with you today. And we have a really awesome topic at hand today. We are going to talk about germs, right? When we think about germs, we think about avoiding them. We think about how different bacteria makes us sick. But the reverse is also true. There are some bacteria that we need and require for our well-being. And specifically, a lot of that bacteria resides in the gut. So today we have a good friend of mine, Amy Chadwick. Amy has a rich history in wellness with a 20-year background in nursing, including an emphasis on women's health, employee wellness, behavioral and mental health, and cardiovascular care. She's been a certified health coach for over 6 years, specializing in weight loss, stress management, behavior change, and gut-brain health. And that's kind of where we're going to focus today, right? We're going to focus on the gut microbiome and how it impacts multiple systems in the body. The bacteria found in our gut have a direct impact on our health and well-being. And we rely on this bacteria to maintain that health and well-being. So Amy, thanks so much for being here today and joining us for another gut conversation. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into our first question. So how would you, like in your own words, describe the gut microbiome and its importance and how it has an impact on our lives and our health? Really?
Yeah.
How would you describe that?
Well, the funny thing is, considering we are basically made up of all of these bacteria, I mean, we have cellular structure and other things in there too, but and then these bacteria basically synthesize minerals, vitamins, they can regulate your mood, sleep, whether you're obese, not obese, whether you poop, whether you don't poop. I would say that basically it's really important that we have a solid gut microbiome. I mean, a very, again, diverse, well-rounded gut microbiome. And, just to share a little personal experience with the importance of having a healthy gut biome, I went through a couple health things probably about a year and a half ago. And leading up to that, I started noticing like a lot of head fog. I started noticing I didn't have the energy that I did. I couldn't find the worst is I'd be talking like we are right now, and I literally for the life of me couldn't find my words to the sentence.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what is going on? I was like, oh my gosh, this is Alzheimer's, like I need to be tested. What's wrong with me? And I actually, found out that I had some serious stuff going on and I had to have a major surgery. And after that surgery, again, it continued this really weird lack of energy. My mood was really funky. I just wasn't feeling like myself. And then there's this girl I know who introduced me to some supplements.
Cool.
If I can make a plug for New Earth right now. And I started, like, I've always been pretty well read, especially with the health and wellness background, but really getting in the diversity of my food groups, as well as the enzymes, as well as I feel like the algae has made a massive difference. And all of a sudden my body started responding. 2-3 p.m. I'm not falling asleep. I'm finding my words. I am going to patient appointments with doctors and I'm like on it. I'm making sure that I'm, crossing my T's, dotting my I's. It was crazy. My sleep was better. My bowel function was better. I was like, wow. And then really start diving into some research about the connection. And I was like, that was it. I was sold. And, I've just been really committed to making changes. And honestly, the supplements have been amazing for me. So I can't talk about them enough.
That's a good problem to have.
It is.
You said a couple things that I found really interesting. What I heard you say was basically that bacteria runs my life.
Yeah.
Did I hear you correct? Okay, so
Honestly, yeah. I mean, you are what you eat. Your bacteria, they can actually create food cravings. That was really interesting to me when I was doing my research a while back. Like, I don't want chocolate. The bacteria that I have farmed from eating too much chocolate wants a chocolate.
isn't that funny?
Yeah. So it's real easy to, to kind of go into your head about, oh, this is me, I can't control this. Well, honestly, you're right. Some of it you don't have a lot of control of. What you do have control of is changing the diversity, changing your microbiota, and hopefully getting different cravings in there now. Cravings of like fruit and vegetables.
The things you want to crave.
Chocolate or chalk or ice or some other weird things that if you are mineral deficient because your bacteria are off, there's a thing called pica, and that's one of the things you crave. Paint chips.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah, so yeah, it is important unless you enjoy eating paint off your walls.
Well, I hope to never be doing that. I find I picture like these little monsters inside me. Num 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 num. So you said one other thing. You were talking about how you felt when you started introducing New Earth supplements
Yes.
back to your life after you'd gone through some health things. Now, do you remember what product or what products?
Yeah, so I started with essentials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was the easiest. Go to. It's super convenient. You get at least some probiotic and enzyme in it. But just something about it wasn't quite hitting enough of what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I added Mind. So I take a couple Mind on top of the essentials. And that after a month of doing that, that's when I completely noticed the difference with my head fog and energy. It was crazy. It was like a light switch. But I mean, I have family members who have Crohn's. If you don't know, it's a irritable bowel disease, and like with them, I mean, their bowel function has changed. I'm not saying it's going to cure anything. Nobody ever, don't take that to as what am I trying to say? Truth. But for some family members, like it has completely regulated some issues that have been a serious problem. My aunt sleeps better taking them. I've just had a lot of people say that these things are, helping them in many different fashions, but I know what they've done for me personally, which is the head fog, the energy, and the bowel regulation.
Absolutely. So I have to follow up with one thing. What Amy's saying are her own words. Our products are not designed to cure, treat, or prevent any sort of disease or condition. So these are just her own experiences that she's sharing today. So what advice would you give them when it comes to living and eating in a way that supports their gut? So I guess not just diet, but like lifestyle and diet together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny that, diet and people are on a journey to better gut health. Well, I mean, honestly, you just start eating whole foods, you're already, first step, you're already there. So, I mean, that's simply, I try to make it real simple for people. I mean, there are a million diets out there, and I know a lot of them. I've tried a bunch of them. And frankly, it just boils down to eating whole food. It comes down to eating more food that does not have labels on it than food that has labels on it. If your food has a label on it, read it. Then if it has too much sugar in it, probably don't eat it. Women only need 24 grams of sugar a day. That is 6 teaspoons. 6 teaspoons. Yeah. The men are at 9 teaspoons, I mean, that's like barely 36 grams. I mean, that's of added sugar a day. So, read your labels. I mean, I like to do the low-hanging fruit. Let's start there. Count your vegetables that you eat each day. If you're only eating like 1 or 2, just try and add in another one. Again, all of that stuff contributes to better gut health because you're adding fiber in. you're adding a nutrient, you're adding a mineral in that, again, you're cultivating new bacteria just by doing that in your belly. So that's why, it's really important just to do that. And then diversity, right? So not only do you want fruits and vegetables, but you want things like high fiber foods like beans and legumes and lentils and things like that. They add a whole different set of bacteria. They make the happy bacteria that basically with fiber, you can flush out cholesterol, extra cholesterol and sugar with. It helps your blood sugar. So really trying to get in 25 grams of fiber in a day. That is not only going to help your gut bacteria, but it's also going to help cholesterol and sugar. Guess what else is going to help? Poop.
Oh,
So, I mean, so you're adding all of these things in, and ultimately, the benefit is better health, less going back to decreasing inflammation. Also, if you're talking overall health, like I said, again, the whole stress component is so big in regards to health, and people don't realize digestive health. When you are stressed, there's this thing called a vagus nerve, and it runs from here all the way down, you can't see me, to your GI tract. Well, there's a thing called fight or flight. So it's called your sympathetic nervous system. And when you're stressed, so in the old days, that would mean like running from a saber-toothed tiger, or your husband's chasing you, or you're chasing your husband, or something to that extent. So, I mean, it'd be a significant stressful event, whether it's a run, freeze, or fight. What happens, your blood is shunted to other parts of your body. So it's going to go to things that are going to help you run or fight. And so then what happens with your gut, it slows the motility down. When that happens, so your gut bacteria in your bottom GI tract, your colon, are supposed to remain down there. They're not supposed to come up into the little small intestine. And when you're in major stressful situations, what can happen is all that motility slows down, so it can decrease, or it increases the migration of those bad, well, they're good bacteria in your colon, not so good in your lower intestine or small intestine. And then it increases, what happens then is it can cause more gas, bloating, things that shouldn't be there, because that's not the normal state of things. The problem nowadays is our bodies think we're running or fighting when we're sitting at our desk, because you're creating that stressful state all the time. When all of those bacteria are melding together, you cause more inflammation. So you tap into meditation, you tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest. That's your sleep. What it does is reset everything. So it allows that digestion to happen appropriately. And so that's why it's so important to address stress in your life, because it does affect gut motility and also keeping the bacteria where they should be versus having them migrate up into the small intestine, and that's not good. So yeah, stress management, very, very important. It's not addressed enough, I don't think, or we talk about it, and that's another one of those I need to sit down with myself and be real conversations. And then really trying to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system, where you actually have good gut motility, because the blood is getting back there when you're resting. And peristalsis, which means it's pushing everything out that it needs to push out. So when you have high stress, you can either find yourself constipated because it's not pushing, or you can find yourself going the other way. And that is because everything is trying to push it out, so that your body doesn't have to actually work on the intestine when it's trying to run away. So that's why stress and addressing that is super important in your overall health.
that is super fascinating. because
That's good stuff.
majority of us are really, I mean, myself, I'm stressed every day. I mean, I have deadline after deadline,
Mhm.
it's fast paced, it's high demand. Um, so basically when we're in that stress state, we're kind of like having a party in our gut, but the bouncers let the bad guys in, so our party's not so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly because truly peristalsis is like waves, right?
Hmm.
So that's like pushing, there's small waves pushing from the small, yeah, I mean, actually, from when you chew into your stomach all the way then into the intestinal tract. So these waves should be going when that stress happens and that blood is shunted elsewhere. Those waves don't really happen. That movement isn't happening as well. And so that halts, and then basically the sphincter between the lower intestine and the upper intestine, somehow, some way, I don't know how they migrate through it, but somehow they creep up into a place they shouldn't. Yes, the bouncers are asleep at the wheel and allowing these guys in this club to come over to this party over here without an invitation.
That stuff, you don't want uninvited guests at
Yeah.
a party. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's a whole like theory. Again, this, I can't say that it's a proven thing, but this is the theory that people are researching, and this is where, if anybody's heard of SIBO, the small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, that's where it comes from. It's
okay.
kind of this theory. So, but definitely the stress mechanism for slowing down GI motility, that's legit. And the vagus nerve is kind of the controller of all that.
Okay, that makes sense. So you said something else that's fascinating is that we can actually control it by managing
Yeah.
our stress. And I know that you use a variety of avenues to manage stress. Do you want to kind of mention a few of those that you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it's so I do this fascinating experiment in my heart class that I teach. I take somebody's blood pressure, and then we do a 2 minute, what I call drop in. So I use a visualization technique. No music. You can use music if you want, but basically you imagine a light on each breath that you breathe in. That light travels from a different body part. You start at your feet, and usually on the exhale, it travels up into the next body part. And anywhere this light touches, it relaxes the muscle. You imagine it like ice or butter, so something like melting tension away. I use those kinds of descriptors. So I do this for 2 minutes, and then I take the person's blood pressure again. And it is astounding, in 2 minutes, I can get somebody's blood pressure down from like 150 over 90 into the 130s over 80s. I can get somebody who already had low blood pressure. I was kind of afraid to do it. They were already like 100 over 60, and sure enough, they dropped to like 90 over, 55, which was a little too low. I was like, okay, let's get you some water before you get up. I mean, but that's 2 minutes. 2 minutes you can engage your parasympathetic nervous system with either a drop-in meditation. So you can find free ones. I use Insight. I don't know if we're supposed to say,
You can,
but
if it's a free resource that
okay. So I use Insight Timer. I've used Headspace. I use the Calm app. But honestly, I love YouTube. I use YouTube all the time. And so just type in 2 minute free drop-in meditation. And, you can do that in your car. You can go out for your lunch break if you need to and listen to some good music. One of my favorite things that I've been doing in the mornings, especially when I know I'm going to have a stressful day, is actually putting on the stand-up comedian channel on Amazon Prime because it's free. But what laughter does is release serotonin. It releases some dopamine. It releases all these wonderful, beautiful, feel-good hormones that go in, stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system, and get you into the rest and digest mechanism. And it is, I mean, it's amazing. Smiling can do it even. So again, really tapping into just basic things that you do every day. If you're having a bad day, call somebody and talk about it, laugh about it. make sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep as best you can. It's so important for that whole restoration, recovery, gut renewal. I mean, all of that. And then, again, get active, all of the, all those wonderful little GI bugs, they love activity. It helps the short chain fatty acids, which decrease inflammation. There's so much to say. We only have 30 minutes. So
So we're gonna keep going. Hopefully people stay with us, but I think you're providing good content. So if you're still okay, we'll just kind of make it a little bit longer. Is that okay?
Okay.
Your time?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said something that I really liked. This exercise that you do only takes 2 minutes. And then you said something else. I'm very sorry for the background noise. But you said something else that I found fascinating. So first off, 2 minutes. We all have extra 2 minutes, right? Like,
yeah,
almost in like every hour we have an extra 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah. And then the other thing was as simple as laughing, right? And so I think a lot of us have people that we interact with every day. I hope everyone has people they interact with every day that makes them laugh. So really, really simple ways that don't cost anything, that cost hardly any time, that we can use throughout our day to de-stress. I think that's phenomenal. So thank you for providing those tips. Okay, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in to another Healthy Hustle today. I know we went a little bit long, but we had such great information, such rich information from Amy, everything from why these bacteria are important to what we can do to better foster a healthy gut microbiome with just some small techniques that we can implement every day. I hope you guys found some nuggets of information that you can use and implement in your life daily. Amy, thanks again for joining us today, and we will catch up with you guys on the next Healthy Hustle.